Hello, party people. What's going on? Kyle A0Z. And look, it's Mark. Mark is back from Halibut Electronics. So welcome to the stream. I haven't streamed in a long time. Well, actually, I take that back. I lied. I lied to you already. We're 2.5 minutes in. I've already lied. We do the CW Roundtable, which I stream, but I have not had a Thursday night stream in a while. So welcome everyone in the chat. Hello, Mark. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, Kyle?
I'm
And
good.
it sounded like you started out with "Hello, potty people." I don't know if that's a regional accent thing or
that's a
you
Midwest
just have a
thing.
really special relationship with your listeners,
Yeah,
with your viewers. Yeah,
it's a Midwest thing, you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the potty people.
Okay.
So Mark is on because actually many reasons. We had Mark on. I don't know what, 4 months ago, 5 months ago. No, I don't know.
What even is time? I think of a year.
Whatever. We don't know.
Who knows?
But anyway, so Mark came out. Actually, now I need to unplug it. Hang on, because I gotta show this. Never mind all the beeps and the bloops. But so oh crap, I just lost it. He just came out with this, which is the Halikey. So if you have a FlexRadio, actually tell us how this came about, Mark, and give us some history on what this is.
Sure. So Flex radios, you got the RF deck on this side and the user interface on this side, and in the middle is a TCP/IP stack.
Right.
And the advantage to this is it means that you can take that user interface literally anywhere on the internet and still be able to talk to your radio. That's kind of the key feature of Flex Radio. And so a lot of people will set up their radio at home, but then run a software package called Smart SDR, either on their Windows machine or their Mac. And you can operate your radio at home or the Club Shack or wherever it is from the road, wherever you happen to be. That's not at home, as long as you can get to it over the internet. And that's great for voice or some of the digital modes that are built into the software. But the one thing that's always been lacking, well, two things that have always been lacking. One is a physical PTT switch.
Yes.
Right? There's no foot switch on your laptop, or at least it's a very expensive one. Sticking your laptop on the ground or whatever. And then the second thing that's been missing has been a Morse key. And you can hack together an interface for a Morse key on your laptop using an RS-232 serial port. So you get like a little USB to RS-232 and then wire up some of those pins to a socket for the thing and all of that. And you have to build it. You have to hack it.
It's kludgy.
I've seen some really nice builds, but you have to build it, right? There is no appliance for this. And Mike Walker, who's kind of the social media guy over at Flex, who's also a co-host of mine on the Ham Radio Workbench podcast, he came to me one day, literally called me up, and he's like, "Mark, how hard would it be to build something that does this, but much more conveniently?"
So he called you. This wasn't a conversation that came out of the Workbench?
No. Oh. No, he literally called me because I think there was a thread going on in the forums where people were talking about this and bemoaning the fact that there wasn't a product. And he's like, "I know people who make things. Let me go see make and sell things, the important part. Let me go see how hard it would be to do." And so he reached out to me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I hacked something like you have together, and it looks like this.
Yep. Yeah.
Right. So it's got my little labels on it. So one side is the key and one side is the PTT, or it's upside down, right? So this is what I built. And I'll tell you, Mark, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So I was very, very excited whenever I saw a hardware solution that wasn't made by Kyle, that was actually tested and worked. So I'm just like, well, hell, I'll get that and I'm good to go. Plus, it's small. I can throw it in my bag. You can put it on your laptop, whatever. So, we're going to configure it and get it working. Actually, we've already got it working because There was a moment of oh crap, do we have this thing, a panic, and then we figured it out that it works, and so I've already tested it. It works. But anyway, first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen here. Let's see, share the entire screen. Hopefully, I'm going to share the right screen here. Going to add this to the scene. So here we go. All right, let me hang on, boys and girls.
I see it on my side. I don't know if that means it's seen on the. Yep. Okay.
All right.
It comes up on YouTube.
This is the dock, right? So if you go to, well, first, it comes in a package, right? And it comes with some stickers and a little bitty a business card where it says, all right, scan this QR code and go to the docs, right? So I'm on the docs, and you've got all of the documentation for all of your products, which we're going to get to. We're going to do a deep, or not a deep dive, but an overview of all the things Mark's been working on. So here we go.
Right there on the screen, that diagram. Can you zoom in on that a little bit? Because I think
you're so needy.
I know. But that is, I think, probably the best description of what Halikey is, right? Like over on the left-hand side, you see your radio at your station. Then you've got the internet. And then you're running a laptop or whatever computer with a smart SDR software. Your Halikey connects to your computer via USB, and then you can plug in your Morse paddles or a PTT switch into the 3.5 millimeter socket on Halikey, and it talks to the smart SDR software. It does all the right hardware bits there to connect all of those things. And it's just this little inexpensive, heat shrinked dongle.
Yeah. So, you got your. I love heat shrink dongles.
Well, yeah, Vince is saying Mark stickers always add 6 dB. So, I like my stickers.
So here's what comes in the bag. Now give us a little insight here. This USB dongle here, is it out of stock? Is it in stock currently?
It is back in stock now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. So the people who were waiting on their Halikeys from the third batch, the new hardware came well before the adapters did, and I ended up placing like 3 orders for adapters, hoping that one of them was going to show up quickly, and they all showed up at about the same time. But now I've got 3 times as many adapters as I have Halikeys, so I'll use them over time. It's fine.
Right. All right. So if you're going to use this for Keen CW, now I heard, tell me if this is wrong, for this to work on CW, is that only Mac, or will it work in Windows too?
So no, it's only in Mac, and it's not because of anything I'm doing in the hardware. It's because the Windows Smart SDR does not have a keyer built in.
Yeah.
It wants you to use a WinKeyer plugged into it, and then it'll send the stuff from WinKeyer, but it doesn't have the iambic logic that turns left and right paddles into dits and daws and all the timing and all of that fun stuff. It doesn't have that built into the software. It's a little weird. Smart SDR for Macintosh is made by a guy out in Germany, Marcus. I don't remember his last name. Forgive me. And he also makes the iOS client. But the Smart SDR for Windows is made by Flex, is written by Flex. And that's the only one that they, quote unquote, officially support, but they endorse the one done by Marcus for the Mac and iOS.
Right.
But anyway, they're written by different developers, and so they have different feature sets.
Yep.
And in my experience, the Mac feature set tends to be more complete.
Yes, I agree. There's a lot more stuff that goes on the Mac software than the Windows, because I think, a lot of testing, and whenever you've got a company that is pumping out software, there's a lot more things that go into it versus a guy sitting in his basement, right?
Yeah.
So, but the Mac software is great.
It is.
It is. I think it's a fee. I don't remember if it's a fee per year or if it's a one-time fee.
No, it's one time.
One-time fee.
And I was happy to find out that I think it's the same fee for the macOS and the iOS, because I had bought the iOS version of it, and then I just recently got a Mac in my office, and I went to go and install it, and they're like, "Oh, you already, once I gave it my call sign, it's like, yeah, you already own it. You don't have to buy it again." I'm like, "Oh, that's slick."
Yeah, it's cool. All right.
I just sold one.
Oh, nice.
Whoever that was, thank you.
This is great because I have Smitty on my stream, and then the guy that does spin logic or spin right in the background, a light lights up, and whenever somebody buys, something on it, yeah.
And there's another order just came in.
Very good.
Thank you, everybody.
All right, so this is how you connect the Halikey up to the Morse paddles, right? So you've got your tip that goes to your DIT, or your ring goes to the DA, and your sleeve goes to the common. I guess this depends on which configuration you want your DITs and your DAs on, right?
Yeah, it does, but macOS has an option to swap them. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So
okay.
Yeah.
And then a straight key between the tip and the sleeve. So that would be the tip and the sleeve. Then the PTT, which we are using, I have got, so you show a tip ring sleeve in this configuration.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and be honest with the viewers. The panic I had was when Kyle held up his foot switch connector and it was a tip sleeve, only 2 pins, which means the ring gets shorted to ground, which is the same as pressing the ring all the time. And I wanted to make sure that Smart SDR didn't key up when the signal on ring went active, because they're active low. You pull them to ground to activate it. And I was terrified that as soon as you plug in the foot switch, it's just going to start keying up immediately. We confirmed it does not do that, but that was a moment of sheer terror. Like, we're about to go on. Yeah.
So if you have a tip sleeve, it will work. We have confirmed.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So then all I did was I plugged it into my USB adapter controller port. There we go, port. And it came up as port COM3, recognized it right away. And then I came over here and configured a port on my CAT Smart SDR, named it Halikey PTT, protocol PTT, serial, hit that existing, came down here, chose COM3 on mine, VFO slice A, RTS, active low, enabled, and I hit save. It did its thing in the background, and here's the Smart SDR for Mac. So I'll pause that for a bit. And that was it. So let's bring down Smart SDR here. So I got it setting on a dummy load. So I have a piano sustain pedal, right?
Yeah.
That's down here. So I'm going to press it, and hopefully this thing will key. Test 1, test 2. Actually, I have to plug it in again.
And if it changed COM ports, then Smart SDR does not deal well with that.
Yeah, so let's see if it's I unplugged it and replugged it. So now let's see if it changed COM ports here. So what is the Windows command? Device manager.
Device manager.
Yeah, there we go. All right, so if I bring device manager down here and I take a look, it is in COM3. So let's make sure that it is COM3. Yep. So COM3.
Yep. Okay.
Plug it back in.
Boop, 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 boop.
And there it is on COM3. So now let's go to my CAT SDR and bring that down and make sure that that is configured correctly.
Yep.
COM3 RTS. Yep. Looks good.
Yep. Looks good.
All right. So now let's stomp on this thing again. And it was working.
We just tested this.
It was just working. Test 1. Oh my gosh. Why is this not working?
Oh boy. Live demos, people. Live demos. So let's see here.
Let's troubleshoot here.
Yeah. Close out a smart SDR and reopen it. I wonder if when the serial port went away, it didn't re-establish.
Okay.
Do it live.
That could
overload says.
That could be it. So let me bring up smart SDR again. Here we go.
Windows update. You shut your mouth, Mike Smith. don't curse us with that.
Test 1, test 2. There we go. It's keying, but it just didn't pick up my mic. Yep, it works.
That has nothing to do with Halikey.
No. It just didn't pick up my mic. Test 1, test 2, test 1. There we go. Test 1, test 2, test 1, test 2. It is working. Alpha 00. There we go.
That's it.
It's because I unplugged it. Smart SDR lost its mind and didn't know where to go, and that's why it freaked out. So yeah, it works.
Remember when I said that Smart SDR on macOS is more full featured?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was it.
That's Halikey.
All right. See you guys later. End the stream.
We already had one question from, oh geez, forgive me, I don't remember who it was asked.
Let's go back.
Digital Rancher.
Yeah.
Who was asking about eggnogs.
Yes. All right. So let me stop sharing here so we can get everyone back here. Move this.
All of a sudden, the Nuggets episode.
Yeah. Nuggets is before my CW stream where T.O. and his people basically take something and don't break it, but they try and figure out live on stream. And sometimes it goes well, sometimes it blows up.
Not so much.
So let's get an update on eggnogs. Yeah, what's going on?
So let me give a quick summary of what the heck eggnogs is. We had AI6YR on the show, Ham Radio Workbench, to talk about satnogs, which is a giant network all over the world of people who set up satellite receiving stations. And you as a researcher or just a curious person can go to all of these stations or any of these stations and say, I would like you to receive this satellite on this pass from this time to this time. And it does all the satellite calculations for you. You don't have to plug in those numbers. It just shows up a list of things that it's going to be able to hear in the next however long. And you say, record that for me. And then, it's an SDR or whatever it is, and it tries to record it and blah, 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 blah. It's really neat, and I was really curious to get involved in it. And you can go whole hog and get a rotating directional antenna to get really good reception, or you can go simpler and set up a truly omnidirectional antenna, including straight up. And that is my fifth sale for the night. That called an egg beater antenna. All right. And egg beater antennas, they're called that because they look kind of like an egg beater, like a whisk.
Yeah.
Right. It's two circles, two full wave loops mounted 90 degrees physically from each other and fed 90 degrees out of phase from each other. So you have these two things, and then you have to have a quarter wave of feed line between the feed points of each of these antennas. And that quarter wave of feed line will then, that quarter wave of feed line will then shift the phase of one of the two loops by 90 degrees. So this is what an egg beater antenna is. And if you look at the designs for egg beater antennas, they all show you how to do it using a coax, it's a 92 ohm coax called RG62, which, if anybody remembers Novell networking in the 80s, that was ArcNet cable, showing you how old I am. Am I off center? No, you got it. Okay, never mind.
Got it.
And so, but 50 ohm coax or 100 ohm coax is hard to come by, the RG62. So there was somebody who showed how to do it using two loops of 50 ohm coax. And you can put the two loops of 50 ohm coax effectively in series, and that kind of makes it 100 ohm coax.
Okay.
I'm waving my hands at how this works. There are very specific ways of connecting everything to make sure that it works. And so I had the idea of, let's make a circuit board that has a feed point on it and then does all of the things so that it connects the two different coaxes correctly to turn it into a phasing loop, turn the two loops of coax into a phasing loop for the antenna. And then the other epiphany I had is how to attach the coax to the board. So let me do it this way. The coax, this is RG316. The coax comes up, the shield gets pulled off and soldered to a pad on the bottom of the board.
Okay.
But the center insulator and the center conductor go up through the board and then solder onto a small pad on the other side of the board.
Okay.
So it's a way of soldering a coax to a board where the board is actually separating the two separate conductors.
Yeah.
So you're much less likely to have like one strand of your shield over on your center conductor pad, right?
Yeah.
And it also means that the cables are coming out 90 degrees from the board, which if you're going to put this board like this at the top of a mast, you want the cables going down on the inside of the mast.
Right.
So those were kind of the two epiphanies that I had, was the how do you attach cable to a board, and then the fact that I could do all of the connection wackiness on the board to make everything connect in the right way. And then the board has these 4 loops on the outside edge that connect into stainless steel hardware. And this PVC cap, which is custom milled, I will be milling it and including this in the kit. So when you buy the kit, you get the board, you get the length of coax, you get the stainless steel hardware, and you get the custom milled cap. You're on your own for providing 2-inch PVC as the mast, but you can get that at the hardware store, right? You're also on your own for providing the aerial loops, but like this is 14 gauge Romex. I had a strip of 14 gauge Romex, the white stuff, laying around that was extra, and I just used 2 feet of it, 2.5 feet.
So you can buy any type of wire as long as you can. It probably has to be pretty non-flexible in order for it to stand up like that, right?
Yeah, either that or you create a support for it.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah. So actually the program that does the milling of these things, it also puts a little dot in the center. It doesn't drill all the way through, but it puts a dot in the center of those holes that you can then use if you decide you want to put a support and attach it to the top of the cap.
Oh, okay.
You can drill that all the way through and then create your own support in the center of the antenna.
Yeah, gotcha. Jody's got a question. How sensitive are those loop lengths, plus or minus a couple of millimeters, okay, without screwing up phasing? That's a great question.
So it will screw up phasing, and I don't know how bad that is. What's going to happen if you screw up your phasing is that your radiation pattern is going to get smooshed. So if your phasing is perfectly 90 degrees, then you have, effectively a perfectly circular radiation pattern. But if your phase is a little bit off, or more precisely, if you're not trying to receive at the phase of the antenna, right? Because we're going to be receiving over a range.
Right.
And so you're going to try and tune your antenna in the middle. Yep. But even when you're at the far side of the range, this is going to be a little bit out of phase. But what it does is it just kind of smooshes the radiation pattern and elongates it in one axis or another. So it's not the end of the world if the phase is a little bit off.
Got it.
Yep.
Understood. Nice thing is you explain stuff like I can, sometimes I need to be taught like a 5-year-old, and some of the times, people like tell me stuff and I'm just like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
What you just said. Yeah. No, I have been told that I am good at explaining things. Which is good because I like explaining things. So.
You do.
Yeah.
Let's bring up, hang on. Hang on. Everyone hang on. Just hang on. Don't do anything dumb. Let's
Ted W feels my pain about ArcNet. Yes. You're terminating resistors for ArcNet. Yes. Oh my gosh.
All right. Here is the Halibut Electronics website. And I just want to go through some stuff here. I mean, you've almost said it all already, but we talked about the Halikey.
Yep.
If you're late to the stream here, go back about 20 minutes and press play, and then go buy yourself a Halikey. You'll thank Mark later. But then we've got some amateur radio things. You want to hit on any of these things that you're working on here in the amateur radio space?
So the bottom center is one of the ones, is kind of my oldest product and the one that's been selling the longest and selling the best, honestly. It is a common mode current choke test rig, which is a mouthful. But what does it do? It is a device that you hook up to a VNA, and it lets your VNA measure the common mode of a device. Normally, VNAs are measuring things on the inside of the coax.
Yes.
Right. So, and that's where like filters are going to be, et cetera, et cetera. But if you want to measure a common mode current choke, also known as a 1-to-1 current balun, if you want to put one of these baluns or these current chokes at your feed point of your antenna or at your radio to try and make it a little bit quieter on reception, you can, there are plenty of guides out there about how to build those things, but there's no easy way to measure them. There's no easy way to say, all right, I've built it. How good is it? Because the VNA is measuring everything on the inside of the coax. And the whole point of being on the inside of the coax is that everything on the outside is completely transparent to it. So on the inside is what's called differential mode. And that is what the VNA is looking at. On the outside is the common mode. And that's what we're trying to stop with the common mode current choke, but the VNA can't measure it.
Yeah.
So this test rig, what it does is it allows you to you connect this test rig to a VNA, like a nano VNA or any VNA really, and then it takes the signal from the inside of the coax and sticks it on the outside of the coax, and then you run it through the device under test, like your common mode current choke, and then it goes back into the VNA, and that way, if you measure, it's called S21 mag log, or log mag, excuse me, the logarithmic magnitude of the signal received on port 2 that was generated on port 1, which is what S21 log mag means. Basically, it's saying I put out so much power out of port 1, how much power is being received on port 2? And you end up with this graph over frequency that says I am minus 25 dB, with a or roughly 25 dB with a shape that looks like this, or I'm only minus 10 dB or whatever. And so you actually measure how much rejection your common mode current choke is providing and at what frequencies. And you can do things like, sometimes when you build a common mode current choke, it'll resonate. And when it resonates, it has a very, deep rejection point, but it's very narrow. And outside of that frequency range, it is very bad as a common mode current choke. So if you can make a resonant common mode current choke at the band that you care about, then that's good.
Yep.
Yeah, but if you want one that's broadband, then you don't want the resonance. And theory will tell you lots of different things, but there's no substitute for just measuring the darn thing and seeing what it looks like right now.
Yeah.
And getting that information helps you make decisions about how to improve it.
And then you've got, let's see, what is this BCI filter?
So BCI stands for broadcast interference. And if you have a receiver with a wide front end, and that's a polite way of saying inexpensive SDRs. So like the RTL SDR dongle, it's meant to receive from DC to daylight. So there's no space in there for a pre-selection filters. The way real radios handle this is that they've got a filter that, various different filters that they switch in for each of the bands. And so like if you're down around 80 meters, there's a filter set that's kind of wide, but it blocks off everything else. And then you go up in frequency and it blocks off the other things. They don't have those on smart SDR or on, RTL SDRs. And so if you live near a strong AM broadcast station, I've got 15 kilowatts of AM broadcast about 3 miles that way. And if you hook up an SDR to an outside antenna, that AM station will blow out the front end of that SDR.
Yeah.
Even if I'm trying to receive VHF or UHF on the SDR, there's no filtering.
All you're going to hear is that AM broadcast station.
Yeah. And it desenses everything else. So I actually built these out of frustration for myself. I need to be able to roll off the AM broadcast energy coming in on my VHF and UHF antennas. Like commercial radios, my Kenwood already has pre-selection built in, so that's not a problem. But for these SDRs, it is a problem.
You should have called this built from anger filter.
So you can get BCI filters for the HF bands because it's more commonly a problem for HF radios. But the problem with those is that they respond very poorly at VHF and UHF. And so if you get one designed for HF bands and try to use it at VHF and UHF, the insertion loss is just horrible. And so it ruins your receive sensitivity just because you have the filter in line. So I designed one that was designed to work for VHF and UHF, but blocks out the AM broadcast band.
Oh, okay. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. I really want to talk about your open headset standard. I think this is awesome. This is I wish this was adapted and all of the big manufacturers just decided this is the standard, we're going with it. And which one do you want to talk about first?
So the Radio Pro and the User Pro are kind of the places to start. The User Pro's on the next row. Yeah. So the radio device and the user device, click one of those and then scroll down. That might be actually bring that one up. So you can click on the little the spyglass in the upper right corner, the magnifier. Yeah, that. Cool. Okay, cool. So this is a description of the OHIS ecosystem. So the idea is that we define a standard for the interface between a headset and a radio. Right now, there is no standard. There are different kinds of microphones, different connectors, and even when you have the same connector, there are different pinouts. It's just a disaster. And so you end up having to buy adapters to go from this specific headset to this specific radio. And it's one adapter that is unique to the pairing of that headset and that radio. What I am proposing is that we split that adapter into two parts. We have an adapter for the headset that is unique to just that headset, no matter what radio you plug it into, and it stays with that headset. And now that headset has a standard port on it. Same thing on the radio side. We make an adapter that is unique to this particular radio that stays with this radio, no matter what you're going to plug into it. And now it presents a standard port. And if you do this on all of your radios and all of your headsets, now you have this standard interface in between, and I can take any of my headsets and plug them into any of the radios. So in a personal shack, that's not all that exciting. Right. But when you go into a multi-user environment like an EOC or a club station or a field day event, that's really where that kind of flexibility really shines.
There is nothing worse than working a multi-2 or a multi-multi. Some dude gets off of the radio that's been sweating like a hog, and you put on his sweaty headphones, and all you feel is like you want to go take a shower.
So I have a term in the standard document, in the glossary for the standards document. I define ear goobers. Because that is the term that I use to describe not wanting to put somebody else's headset on my head. Right. I don't want your ear goobers and you don't want my ear goobers.
Yeah. And, I feel bad whenever I take Clorox bleach wipes, and I'm wiping the headphones down in front of that person, and they're just like, what? What's going on? You don't want to, my goobers? I'm like, no, I don't.
Yeah.
So I am totally behind this. I love this concept of I bring my Heil headset, RIP Bob Heil.
Yeah.
I bring my Heil headset with me to my multi,
and I'll bring my Radio Sport.
Yeah, and you bring your Radio Sport, and I've got an adapter, you've got an adapter, and we just plug it in, and it just works, right?
Yep.
I mean, the only thing that I can think of that might be an issue is your mic gain, right?
No, it's even the mic level is standardized. So go into the User Pro description. I think this is actually User Pro here.
Okay. Hang on. I got to learn how to work a computer.
Yeah, they're overrated. So bring up that first. You were already on the User Pro.
Okay, I was on the User Pro. Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. So that first image there, you see those three little circles? I'm pointing at my screen like you can see it.
Yeah,
those three little circles. Yeah, so there's a trim pod in there, and then those two LEDs, actually with the production version, those LEDs are on the RJ45 socket on the end. But you still have two LEDs that act as a little VU meter.
Gotcha.
And so you plug in your microphone, you set it up for you to talk, and you talk the way you normally talk. Like I'm a loud talker, so my mic gain goes way down because I'm just loud.
I'm a screamer. I yell into the microphone, and at 3 o'clock in the morning, they're trying to sleep, and they're just like, Kyle, shut up.
Yeah. And so the you adjust that until the green light is on most of the time, and the red light is only on periodically.
Yeah.
Right. And so if you set it that way, then you're pretty much in the right range.
Yep.
And this thing is configurable for either an electret microphone or a dynamic microphone. It's got a mic preamp built into it, so it'll bring a dynamic up to the standard level, which is electret. So OHIS mic level standard is part of the standard.
Yeah.
And so you adjust it on the user adapter so it's the right level.
That's awesome. Yes.
So go back out to the previous page.
Quit yelling at me.
Oh, sorry. Once you have a standard interface between the user's headset and the radio, click on Contesting Console. Now that you've got the standard interface between the user and the radio, it makes it a lot easier to build devices that go between the user and the radio.
Right.
Because that device no longer has to deal with any kind of headset or any kind of radio. It has a standard interface it can be built to.
Yeah.
This is what I actually want to build. These are the products that I actually want to sell. The Contesting Console is the first one that I've got right now. You plug two users into it. I call them left and right operator, but usually I think of it as like a logger and an operator. And then you plug that into one radio. The users have an intercom so they can hear each other.
Yep.
And whichever user presses their PTT, their microphone audio gets sent to the radio.
Okay. Yep.
All right. So they can both listen to Dale's on. Yes. So Dale Henniger.
Oh, that's a perfect way to do that. Yes.
And so like our field day here, we're not hardcore and we don't have hardcore contesters, but we have a lot of people who are interested in doing it. So the people who are comfortable on the radio generally do the operation, and then somebody who's new will come in and do logging for a while, and then you might swap. Like, okay, right. I'm comfortable. Let me try it again. And you might swap roles. And so you just, whoever PTTs is, whoever pushes their PTT, their mic goes to the radio.
Yeah, that is a perfect dual op POTA thing, right?
Yeah. So Dale is really cool. By the way, I got your box. Thank you, Dale. I haven't responded to you yet. Dale designed this. It looks pretty simple. It's
hang on.
Yep.
There you
go. So the Dale designed this, which is a 3D printed bracket. You put a OHIS radio adapter, HHI Radio Pro in the bottom, and then on the top you put the contesting console. Okay. And the cables are such that the contesting console has two Anderson power poles on it, and they're just in parallel, so you can feed power through it.
Okay. Yep.
Right. So you have power come into the contesting console, and then you just have a short cable that goes from there into the radio adapter beneath it, and then the radio port on this side of the contesting console just has a short cable that goes into the Radio Pro on the bottom.
Yeah.
And so, and like everything is held in this one case. I thought it was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, so I wrote up a blog post about that, and yeah, Dale, this is great.
Cool. Yeah.
So yeah, contesting console, and then there are a couple of other features on it. Like when I'm operating, and if someone comes up and says, "Hey, what do you want for dinner?" or whatever, rather than take off your headphone to be able to hear them, it has an ambient microphone. There's a little MEMS microphone on the inside, and you can just turn up that volume to hear what's going on around you if you want to, or you can turn it down. And then in the upper right-hand corner, there is a radio speaker. You plug in an unpowered speaker to there, and it's got a little speaker amp built into it. So somebody else walking by, if they want to hear the full QSO, like they can already hear you because you're speaking verbally. But if they want to hear what's on the radio, they can just turn that up a little bit, listen to what's going on the radio, and then when they're done, they can turn it back down again.
Right.
So like this is the thing that I am most proud of on the webpage right now. Like I have been wanting to make this product for years, almost a decade at this point.
Wow. That's cool. That is very cool.
Yeah. All right. What else do you want to see?
Oh, let's see. What do you have? Let's see. You had an amateur radio, and then you had another. Let's go to home here.
Oh, audio file.
Yeah, audio file. Let's.
So I don't have anything in audio file yet.
Okay, gotcha.
So that picture there is a console. It's actually like right here on my desk. It is a audiophile quality headphone amplifier that I designed that has 4 inputs, 2 of which are USB.
Okay.
So there's a USB to audio DAC built in, actually 2 audio DACs built in. So you just run USB cables over to your computer, and then the audio comes out, and they each get their own volume knob. And then there are 2 analog inputs. Right now, one of those is connected to my other computer, and the other one's connected to my turntable back here. And so I've got all of these 4 inputs, all 3 of my computers and my turntable going into this headphone amplifier, and I can set the volumes for each one of them individually, and then they all go up into my headphones. And it's, super low noise, good quality, blah, 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 blah. This is half of what will eventually become my station console. And the station console, okay, if the contesting console is 2 users, 1 radio, the station console is 1 user, 4 radios.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you get OHIS cables from all of your radios, you plug them into this one thing, then you plug your headset into that one thing. And now you have like a dial knob that you can select which radio your PTT goes to.
Yep.
But all of the receive audios get mixed and sent up to your headphones. Not that you're going to listen to more than one at a time, but so that you don't have to, like my use case is I might be, one of those inputs may be my computer. I want to listen to music or whatever while I'm working, but I also want to monitor the 2-meter adventure frequency.
Yeah.
Right. 146.58. And so if anybody starts activating a hilltop near me, I want to be able to know that.
Well, this would be perfect for SO2R, and then also the guys that do SO3R, or they interweave band QSOs per band. The N6MJ and K9LA, where they those guys are crazy. They're doing 400 Qs an hour.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Mike Walker has talked to me about trying to set up something SO2R.
Yeah.
I don't understand how SO2R works well enough to be able to figure out what that device would be like, but it's on my list of things to do. But right now I'm actively working on eggnogs. All right, order number 7 or 6. I don't remember which. Right now I'm actively working on eggnogs, and then after that I am either going to do the station console, or I might get back to SOAR.
Well, Eric has got a question. Yeah, Eric has asked this twice, and I sorry, Eric, I didn't get to your first one. He's asked a second time. Maybe on a third time I'll actually no. What's up with SOAR? What is SOAR? I don't even know what SOAR is.
Really?
No.
Oh, I thought you knew what SOAR was. Okay, SOAR stands for Satellite Optimized Amateur Radio.
Okay.
What the hell is that? SOAR was my first product. That was what I wanted to go launch with first. I was upset with the fact that there aren't any full duplex capable radios that you can buy today, right? There's like
There's
one.
the ICOM. You can buy the ICOM, right? There's an
There's no
ICOM.
full duplex. I'm sorry, no full duplex HT.
Oh,
Right?
well, the
There's
Kenwood
no HT right now. Which one?
isn't the new one full duplex?
75? No, it's not.
Oh, okay.
The 72 was.
72, I know it was, but the
Yeah, but they
75
haven't
is
made the
not.
72 for a long time. Yeah.
Right.
They removed the full duplex operation from the 74, and there was a lot of speculation and hope that 75 was going to bring it back, and it didn't.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
So so right now there is one Chinese radio. I can't remember which one it is. The problem with it is that the sensitivity is pretty bad when you're operating full duplex. So when you're transmitting, it desenses the receiver. It's fine if you're doing repeaters, but it's not great for satellite operation where you're already, got a small link budget.
Right.
So there really isn't a good radio right now that you can, small portable radio that you can buy right now that does full duplex crossband, right? Transmitting on 2 meters, receiving on 440 or the other way around.
Yep.
So I wanted to make something that did that for operating satellites. And if I'm going to make my own thing that operates satellites, I'm going to have a microcontroller in there that is controlling the radios and doing a bunch of other stuff. So if I add a GPS to that and an SD card,
Yeah.
now it knows where it is and when it is from the GPS. And you can load the ephemeris data, amateur.txt, the satellite TLE data, three line element is what TLE stands for. But basically, it's all of the information about the orbits of the satellites.
Right.
And so if you know what the TLE numbers are and you know what time it is right now, you can figure out where the satellite is. And if you know where you are and where the satellite is, you can figure out the relative velocities. And if you can figure out the relative velocity, you can figure out the Doppler shift.
Yep. Okay.
Right?
Yep.
So I programmed SOAR. You download amateurs.txt to it over a USB cable. You just hook it up to your computer and it shows up as a hard drive. You copy amateurs.txt to it. You have to keep that updated every once in a while because they do change. But then the GPS knows where it is and when it is. With the amateurs.txt, you know where the satellites are, and it will show on the screen the azimuth and elevation of where the satellite is right now. And it will show you what the Doppler compensation is, and it will continuously update the radios, the VHF and the UHF radio, for that correct Doppler compensation.
Right. Okay.
Right. So it automates all of that process of operating an FM satellite. And then I also was able to get the downlink audio and the uplink audio into the microcontroller and store that as a WAV file on the SD card.
Yeah.
So
recording satellite passes is a huge thing that right. And my audio is either blown out or it's too light, right?
Yeah. So this handles the recording of the satellite pass for you, and it keeps the receive and the transmit audio in separate channels. One's in left and one's in right on the WAV file.
Yes.
So you can always go back and like mute one of them to be able to hear what was actually happening on the other.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Jody says, any chance you're going to be at Hamvention this year?
Yes, I am going to Hamvention, and
awesome.
I will have SOAR stuff with me.
Gotcha.
I'm gonna have all of the things that I'm currently selling with me at Hamvention.
What booth are you gonna be in? The Ham Radio Workbench booth?
I am the Ham Radio Workbench booth.
Oh,
so yes. So 3011 is my booth number. 3011. I'm right next door to the Unseen Coffee. Unseen Bean. That's it. The blind guy who roasts coffee. It's the best booth to have. I'm literally right next door to a coffee vendor. I could not ask for. All I need is a barbecue vendor on the other side, and then I'll be made. Yeah, a digital rancher is asking. Yes, same as last year.
Gotcha. All right, good deal.
N1JUR is asking, where do I send my money? Electronics.halibut.com is where you send your money.
Yes. Also, hot off the presses, we are not publicly known. So this is a news break. We rented out. Well, I rented out the Troll Pub for Saturday night again. So if you're looking for something to do during Hamvention on Saturday night at 5 p.m., all of the YouTubers are coming to the Troll Pub, and it'll be isn't it a perfect term? You know, usually people troll us, and now we're going to troll them at the Troll Pub. So we're going to do the Troll Pub again. So anyway,
nice.
That's going to be on Saturday night.
But as for whether it's the Ham Radio Workbench booth, George can't go, Vince can't go. I'm pretty sure Tom.
So it was your booth last year. The Ham Radio people just hung out.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Okay, exactly. Gotcha. George and Vince can't go. I don't think Rod is going. Mike is going to be at the Flex booth the entire weekend because, day jobs.
Yeah.
And I think Thomas is planning on going, and he will be using my booth as a home base as well.
Cool. Very good. Well, good to see you again. I'll be there.
Yeah.
And go hang out at the Halibut Electronics booth. And it's what number is it?
3011.
3011. Vince,
3011.
There was my dyslexia. Vince and I had a long discussion a couple of days ago about dyslexia. You just saw it right there.
Yep.
With me saying 0311. Perfect example. We were talking about switching dits and das, on CW. Thomas is presenting at 4 Days in May. Oh, very cool.
Yeah, he is. I actually already know that he's definitely going to be there. I just didn't want to commit him. I don't know whether he's talked about it publicly, so I didn't want to.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Very good. Eric, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it. Thank you for the $4.99. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
What else? What else do we got 7 minutes. You want to talk about anything, or we're going to give 7 minutes back to the peeps?
We actually never finished talking about what's up with Soar. So Soar was my first product, but I couldn't go to market with it because I found. Sorry.
Nothing.
You're talking to somebody else. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just pointing.
Okay. I couldn't go to market with it because the UHF radio module that I was using misbehaved every time I tried to transmit into a filter of any kind. And the filters are required if we're going to do full duplex operation. So I can't not transmit into a filter. But they just started misbehaving, and I was never able to figure it out. I paid RF engineer contractors to dig into it with me. I worked with the vendor of the radio module. And then I saw other products that were using the same radio module that VHF, when you bought the VHF version of it, it would come with a filter. If you bought the UHF version, they bypass the filter with a little piece of coax. I'm okay, other people have been running into this problem too, so it's not just me. And I kind of put it aside and said I was going to work on something else for a while.
Gotcha.
And so that's what I've been doing. But I am happy to say that I have been working slowly, on replacing the SA868, which is the module that Soar was originally using. If we put one of these over here, and then we use these little Mitsubishi RF amplifier modules, I will so right now this is just a test board. It'll take the signal out from the SA868, run it through an attenuator, and then up to the Mitsubishi module, and then from the Mitsubishi module through that filter, and then out to a port. So this is a test board to see whether I can make these things work with the SA868. And then eventually my goal is to make it work with the AT1846, which is the same chip that's in the SA868. It's the same chip that's in all of the Baofangs. It is a RFHT on a chip. Audio in one side, RF out the other side. And it handles all the FM, the CTCSS, all of the filtering, the audio filtering and stuff like that inside the chip.
Gotcha.
And so my goal is to make SOAR from that chip with that Mitsubishi module for the RF power amplifier. And then I will have all of the control that I want to do all the things I want to do. Those Mitsubishi modules are rock solid. They are indestructible. So using them as the RF power amplifier will just make the thing so much better.
Yeah.
And then once we get that designed and working, then I glue that on to the rest of everything else that's already on SOAR. All the software is there. All of the audio stuff is there. It's ready. I just need to glue the new radio stuff onto it. And then SOAR will be coming out. So once I get Eggnogs deployed, it's either going to be SOAR or the station console. I haven't figured out which one I'm going to go to next, but that's my plan.
Gotcha. So again, electronics.halibut.com. The link is in the description below. Website looks like that. If it doesn't look like that, you're on the wrong website. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it. Hopefully we'll have you back on here in 3 or 4 months, whenever you got something else that you have designed and want to sell.
Once Eggnogs is ready, I think that'll probably be a good time.
Yes. Yeah. If everyone go out and get yourself a Halikey. If you got FlexRadio, we just demonstrated it. It works perfectly. You gotta if you unplug the thing and or unplug your Halikey and then try and get back into it, ain't gonna work. You got to restart Smart SDR. But anyway, this is gonna go in my go bag, and so I can work on the road. So, anything else?
Vince was asking earlier on in the stream about whether that would let you practice Morse code on your computer. The hardware is certainly there. I'm not aware of any software. I will work on writing some software to do exactly that. So you plug your Halikey into your computer, and then it's just got a keyer that does local beeps and boops that you can use for doing Morse code. I'll work on an app for that.
That is a very good idea.
Yeah.
All right.
But other than that, no, thank you so much. Come to electronics.halibut.com. Give a listen to the Ham Radio Workbench podcast if you're not already a listener. hamradioworkbench.com, or you can find it on any of your podcast catchers. I'm on YouTube, Smitty Halibut, at Smitty Halibut. I'm on Mastodon, at Smitty, at halibut.com. That's it. Thank you very much.
Very good.
Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it. I always enjoy streaming with you. I always learn a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm very grateful for all the things that you do for Ham Radio, and promoting all your stuff is an honor. I think you're doing great stuff.
Not because you're promoting it, but I will come onto your show anytime, man. Seriously, I love chatting with you. You always ask great questions, and it's been a blast. So anytime you want me on, you let me know. I'll be there.
Very good. All right, everyone. Thanks. Next stream, I believe, is next Monday. CW Roundtable. We've got Mike from the Long Island CW Club, and he's going to be demonstrating the new CW trainer that they have developed. So anyway, that's just, and trivia. I totally forgot trivia tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Central, not 7 p.m. 8 p.m. Central, and then we're going to do the happy hour with Ham Radio 2.0. So trivia tomorrow is back. So be there or make like a tree and skedaddle. All right, I got to go. Later.
See y'all. Be good humans.